Hello, we're broadcasting from UATV studios in the Ukrainian capital. I'm Kari Odermann with UATV News in English. Let's have a look at this hour's top headlines. First this hour, Ukraine's defense ministry says Russia is still supplying weapons and military hardware to the armed formations it controls in the Donbass. Last week, a convoy loaded with army equipment and personnel was spotted traveling across the uncontrolled portion of the Ukrainian-Russian border. Earlier this month, militant forces also received a large shipment of fuel from Russia.
At the same time, the command of the Russian armed forces continues to use the temporarily occupied territories of the Donetsk and Luhansk regions as a testing facility. Experimental types of weaponry and other weapons produced in Russia are being supplied to the 1st and 2nd Army Corps for combat tests.
For many children living along the front line in eastern Ukraine, hide and seek is not just a game, but a way to survive the constant shelling. To share their stories, an exhibition titled Hide and Seek has been opened. It's at the National Museum of the History of Ukraine in the Second World War. Our correspondent has more.
Irina Bocharova and her 3 daughters fled their native city of Luhansk at the beginning of Russian aggression. Irina's husband, Roman, volunteered to go to the front line. He wanted to liberate his city, but was killed in 2016.
I was asked, when will we return home? My youngest daughter constantly cried. She was crying for her dad. But at the time, he served in the Dnipro 1 unit in the city of Dnipro. It was painful for the children. They wanted to go home.
The Bocharov family brought their own personal artifacts to the Hide and Seek exhibition, which aims to share the stories of children who have lived through the war in the Donbass. Irina's children chose these stuffed toys and a Winnie the Pooh blanket and a family photo that they retrieved from their destroyed home in Luhansk. It is these things that remind them of the horrors of war. Combining calmness and anxiety is the main concept of this exhibit. On the one hand, there are many things here painted in different colors. It is a bright picture. On the other hand, there's also a lot of gray color. It symbolizes a gray zone or exploded shells. We brought many things that belong to the children who live there to this exhibit. Visitors can feel this pain. At least 147 children have been killed and more than 300 wounded since the outbreak of Russian aggression in the Donbass. Over 240,000 children and teachers along the demarcation line remain under the threat of shellings and gunfire today.
Hiding has become a usual thing for them to survive. That is why we built this house, which symbolizes a protected space for a child. In a dangerous situation, people try to find a safe place for themselves.
The Hide and Seek exhibit will be held in Kiev until mid-2020. Reported by Artem Holu for UATV.
Ukraine is preparing a lawsuit against Russia to demand $50 million in compensation for damage it caused to Crimean seaports. It's just a small part of the losses caused by the occupation of the peninsula. More details in this next report.
The Mariupol seaport is preparing to receive a shipment of grain. The grain terminal construction here is in full swing. It is to be launched in spring of 2020. Construction of the terminal began when turnover of regular goods dropped due to Russia's occupation of Crimea and the Donbass.
Many metallurgical enterprises from Yenakievo, Alchevsk, Makiyevka and Donetsk remained on the other side. The entire coal basin which worked for coal export also remained there. And for clay diggers, it's more profitable to go to the Mykolaiv port.
Over the 5 years of Russian aggression, the Mariupol seaport has lost more than $200 million in income. The construction of the Kerch Bridge alone has led to the estimated loss of at least $25 million.
Some 140 vessels can't reach the Mariupol port due to the bridge's height. Ships are also delayed when they pass through the Kerch Strait. Every vessel heading to the ports along the Sea of Azov is always checked by the border guard services of the Russian FSB.
Meanwhile, despite a ban, foreign ships continue entering the closed ports of occupied Crimea. Ukraine's State Border Guard Service has counted almost 1,000 violations since the occupation began.
We collect this information both independently and with other law enforcement agencies. When a vessel appears in the zone of responsibility of the State Border Guard Service, we can stop it and check the facts to bring them to justice.
According to law enforcement agencies, this year, 10 ships under foreign flags have entered the Crimean port. Volunteers say that the number of violations may be much higher because many vessels disable their detection systems.
Ship owners understand that they aren't allowed to enter, so they turn off their automatic identification system, which makes it harder to detect them and prove that they were in Crimea.
According to the Crimean prosecutor's office, only 46 ships that entered Ukrainian waters have been fined over the past 5 years. Some of them were arrested, and court hearings are underway.
In 2014, these were vessels under the flags of Bulgaria, Egypt, the Seychelles and the Marshall Islands. Now these ships are under the flags of Russia, Libya, Syria and the Republic of Togo.
The administration of Ukrainian seaports intends to seek compensation from Russia for the losses. Just the cost of the lost state property in 5 ports in occupied Crimea is estimated at $50 million. Reported by Yulia Bashko and Nadia Sukharukova for UATV.
2 Ukrainian nurses have been awarded with the Florence Nightingale Medal. The nurses are just 2 of 50 globally that receive the medal every 2 years. In 2019, 29 people from 19 countries were honored with the award.
Every one of them has an enormous list of good deeds, dedication to their profession, and to the people that they help. That's why there is a commission that selects the best candidates. I want to say that these 2 recipients were worthy of this medal.
This is an amazing award. It's rarely given out and not to everyone. But in principle, when we do good things, we never think that we would get some kind of award for it. It's only later, after seeing results, do we see the product of our deeds.
The chief of Kyiv police has said 17 officers and 2 protesters were hurt during a rally outside the Ukrainian parliament. This was part of the land refill bill protest. 26 people were detained. Scuffles broke out after some demonstrators tried to put up tents in the main street by the Verkhovna Rada. Lawmakers will vote on the bill at a later date.
A group of our guys was carrying a tent. There were around 4 or 6 of them. A whole platoon rushed towards them. They took away their tents. We intervened. More people stepped in from the other side. There was a clash. Both sides were just over it. Honestly speaking, both sides sprayed a little mace.
The final round of gas negotiations between Ukraine and Russia will be held on Thursday. This is according to a senior European Commission official. The gas issue was discussed at the recent Normandy format meeting in Paris with representatives from both Russia's Gazprom and Ukraine's Naftogaz companies. The U.S. House of Representatives is expected to vote on articles of impeachment of President Donald Trump on Wednesday. There are 2 articles being brought against Trump by the Democrats. He's accused of abusing power by pressuring Ukraine's president to investigate his rival Joe Biden and obstructing Congress. This is what President Trump said about the outcome of a recent trip of his personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani.
Not too much, but he's a very great crime fighter. He was probably the greatest crime fighter over the last 50 years, very smart. He was the best mayor in the history of the city of New York. He's a great person who loves our country, and he does this out of love.
In Ukraine's Vinnytsia region, a biogas station operating on agricultural waste has been launched. In addition to being economically viable, this practice is also good for the environment. Our correspondent has more.
These tractors are designed for leveling snow at ski resorts. However, in this village in Ukraine's Vinnytsia region, they are used for ramming beet pulp.
It is a strategic raw material that is processed at our biogas plant. It turns into methane gas. We clean it and produce green energy. Clean it. We purify it and produce green energy.
A special conveyor belt brings these raw materials to the bioreactors. All of the equipment is situated here, in the building of the local engineering plant.
We're in the workshop where the process of loading the fuel into the reactors is done. After that, the fuel will undergo bacterial processing, and later it will be loaded into a special machine to produce energy.
The biogas station has created around 50 jobs for locals. Laboratory technician Nina is a mother with children. She was very happy at a chance to get a job here.
We are in our place. We don't have to immigrate, go somewhere far away. We don't spend time on that or money. And I'm always near my kids.
The biogas electric station keeps the air clean and produces green energy.
This factory was built to recycle the waste produced by the sugar factory. It recycles chaff that used to ferment in the pits.
The byproduct of chaff recycling is called cake, a biomass devoid of nitrates, chemicals, and pesticides. It is used as organic fertilizer.
These are organic additives that increase the fertility of vegetables by 30 to 40%. This product is also exported.
The biogas station also created an opportunity for the local sugar factory that has been in place for more than 120 years.
We still have 25,000 tons of recyclables, meaning chaff. Aside from it, we have other organic waste that we have to recycle. We even gave it away for free, and we would transport recyclables using our own transport.
The owners of the biogas plant are planning to expand their operations. They want to launch a recycling operation of other types of agricultural products, such as wheat and corn. Reported by Arina Kantonistova for UATV.
And finally this hour, we have a story that you might think about the next time you go out to eat. In Singapore, there's an artist that turns her creations from cute into something maybe not so cute or appetizing using clay as well as other materials. Her exhibition in Japan is called Modern Panic Tokyo, and it features a variety of sushi rolls filled with body parts made from clay.
One artist from Singapore has an interesting outlook on food. Her work is at times extraordinary. A closer inspection of this sardine tin shows that it's packed with tiny human hearts made of clay, cherubic arms and legs, or other human body parts.
It's a combination of like my fascination for like really cute stuff, and at the same time I don't like it when it's all saturated and perfect. I kind of like it when there is a certain dark element to it. So I think my art has always been about that combination of things that people find sort of like traditionally and typically cute, but then having a darker twist and a darker element to it.
The 28-year-old studied in the Netherlands and is now a full-time information designer. She first showed her works while she was a student in 2017, and since then on her Instagram account, where she posts much of her creations and has attracted a vast following.
There's still a lot of like aesthetics and like ideas of beauty that's tied on to our perceptions of what is beauty.
Despite her modest production facilities, her macabre works are continuing to gather fans. The so-called creepy cute style is a trend in Japanese pop culture.
I thought it has great impact. From a distance, I thought it was a normal sushi, but I was surprised a little bit when I found out it was actually a human body.
The exhibition in Tokyo features a series of sushi rolls filled with baby heads and nigiri topped with eyeballs and brains.
I like art and I like sushi. I don't know if I like both of them together. That's all we have for you this hour. For more information, you can check out our official website, uatv.ua, or you can stay up to date all the time. Keep us in the palm of your hand. Look for us on social media. Simply search UATV English. You won't have to search far or long for me, though. In 2 hours' time, I'll be back with news from Ukraine, Europe, and the rest of the world. My name's Kari Odermann. Thanks for sharing your time.